Morning guys, just on my power walk, second day in a row, which is good. I'll try and do this as often as I can now because obviously I told you in previous stories about the benefits of going on a morning walk, not just about burning calories or making you feel good, etc. But one thing I did learn yesterday about going for a hike or a walk is that I know what it does. I don't know, we know it releases, good hormones, etc. Feel good hormones, whatever. But you also get a lot of ideas when you go on walks. And I always find that I get so many ideas when I go on my power walks, and I don't necessarily get those ideas when I'm at home in my office. So yeah, and I find that I can't miss those now, because those ideas are crucial if I'm trying to build my business or in helping me improve my physique. I also am more articulate, so the research says, when you're on a walk, and that does make sense actually. So anyway, what did I want to talk about? I got quite a few questions yesterday, but most of them I had to just reply back via Instagram. So I'm going to talk about one question today that I got from Annabelle, and it was about meal timings and nutrient timing, how important it is to space your meals out, and generally that. So the first thing I would always say is it all depends on your goals, because I find that if you're trying to build muscle or trying to lose body fat, it can vary in what is optimal, in my opinion. So for me, if you're building muscle, the most optimal nutrient timing strategy would be to place most of your carbohydrates around the workout perimeter. So the reason being, obviously pre-workout you need your energy, you need your carbohydrates, your protein for your session. Now the amounts is personal dependent. For me, I like to have around 100 grams of carbs, which is a lot, but you don't necessarily need carbs pre-workout because it's all about energy. Now I have an intra-workout as well, which has carbs and protein, and I have a huge post-workout carbohydrate and protein meal, and I don't really have carbohydrates. Well, I do, but it's confusing because I do change mine about a lot and it changes day by day. This is because I don't feel that I am optimal at the minute. It's not my priority to be optimal, it's just getting what I can in. So optimal would be, again, personal dependent, because someone's optimal might be trying to get it perfect or just getting it okay for them. But definitely you want to prioritize your carbohydrates around your workout perimeter. Post-workout, obviously, for recovery, replacing the lost glycogen from the session, and obviously for repairing the muscles, for building muscle. And that's where we can utilize a lot of the nutrients post-workout. Your body's craving for that food and you can get a lot in. Also helps with your body composition if you get most of your carbohydrates around the times that you're training. This is why I don't have carbohydrates in the morning. But obviously there's research and stuff and science around, it doesn't matter when you get your calories in throughout the day, but that's mainly for fat loss. If you're aiming to get into a calorie deficit, it doesn't matter when you have your calories, as long as you're in a deficit. But if you're looking at building muscle and strength, you need to prioritize it around your training. So it's different for fat loss and muscle building, And also for strength, if you want to make sure that you're training hard and you want your strength to be good and progressing, then you need your carbohydrates pre and post workout for recovery and energy, etc. Before you go to bed, a lot of people would normally have a protein fat meal. Obviously protein before your bed for building through the night, recovering through the night, etc., and your fats to slow down the digestion, so you're getting the protein recovery through the night. I'm out of breath. Well, I'm 192 pounds. I'm going on a little bit here, but I'll quickly wrap this up. But a lot of people find that having carbohydrates before bed helps them with sleep, which it does. So then, yes, you don't have to have, you can have your meals, the calorie amounts, any time in the day, as long as you get that certain amount of calories in. If you're trying to build muscle, it needs to be in a surplus, etc. But when you're talking about being optimal, trying to build muscle, then obviously around the training perimeters is crucial. With regards to spacing out your meals, then you start to look at what's best on your gut and digestion and how you utilize those meals. If you're having 2 meals in one, which sometimes I do, it's not great. That's not ideal, but that's because sometimes I have to. I don't want to do that, but my lifestyle, that means I have to do that according to my lifestyle. But I've also learned a lot lately about having 6 to 7 meals is not great for your body. We're not meant to have 6 to 7 meals a day. And this is from a guy called Dr. Serrano, who says that really that's not really good on your gut and your digestion. So 4 to 5 meals is probably better. Now, again, this is different for people's goals, because if people are really serious about building muscle and they're taking it to that next level, they're looking for that 0.1%, then obviously they're going to make sure that they're eating every 2-3 hours. But is that optimal for digestion, gut health and your actual body? Because if you're inflamed or you're causing distress to your gut and your digestion, having 2 to 3 meals every 2 to 3 hours, then that's not going to be great for protein synthesis, is it really? So all these little things, you get into the science of it. That's why I don't like getting into the science of it, because there's no right or wrong way. It all depends on you, your lifestyle, and I like to keep things simple. For me, I go by how I feel, and that's always going to trump everything, because everyone is different. This is why Jordan Peters talks about science is great sometimes, but they don't do studies on people like Jordan Peters. So his methods are anecdotal from his experience, which trumps everything. If he's seen something work, he will stick to that no matter what the science says. And I agree. So, but you need to have a foundation and a base to follow, and then you try to do trial and error and see what works for you. And yeah, so rambled on a bit there. Hopefully I answered that question. All I would say is try to find out what your initial goal is, and then work around that. If it's building muscle, then obviously what do you need for building muscle? Work out why you need the calories around your training. If you're losing fat, then yeah, we still need to retain muscle, so it's still ideal to have most of your carbohydrates around your workout perimeter, because you're retaining muscle and you want to progress strength still. So it would be similar, but it doesn't have to be that way. You can eat all of your calories in the morning. This is where things like intermittent fasting works for fat loss, even though you're having 2 to 3 meals a day with a big fasting period, because it's just the total calories throughout the day. But is that ideal for building muscle, and is that ideal for building strength, retaining strength? So that's a long one for you guys there. And any other questions, please please ask them. But I do ramble on a bit. So okay, I'm gonna go now. I need to listen to a podcast. Speak to you all later.